PODIM started in 1918. So the little secret to your audience, that was the year I was born. So I was not there from the beginning. We organized 1,350 meetings last year in 2 days. So this was like in person. So it's like a networking machine. Somebody late night bumped into an investor. And from that random meeting or small talk, the investment happened. And this couldn't happen on Zoom or some sort of networking online meetings. Not a chance, right? Bringing more of those stories that we were talking in this nice conversation in a structured way as a podcast into the world is super important, and it's kind of really part of our mission. If you need to strengthen and improve your network, meet an investor, get a feedback, then this is the place to be. See you in Maribor.
Hi everybody, welcome to a special edition of Europe's podcast. I'm Yochai. Today I have the privilege of interviewing Urban, who is the program director of PODIM and Venture Factory in Slovenia. Europe's podcast is proud to have partnered with PODIM. We will be interviewing energetic entrepreneurs at PODIM's podcast booth. The conference takes place on May 11th to 13th at Maribor, Slovenia. Urban is a startup enthusiast, mentor, and ecosystem evangelist with over 16 years of hands-on experience in entrepreneurship and startup support. He has been deeply involved in the Slovenian startup scene as a project manager at Start-up Slovenia, operating within Venture Factory, the university business incubator of the University of Maribor. Known as the driving force behind initiatives that connect and strengthen the Slovenian startup scene, Urban works closely with founders, organizations, and institutions to motivate new entrepreneurs and provide them with practical support. Alongside this, he has been shaping one of the region's most influential startup events as the longtime program manager of PODIM Conference, helping position it as a key meeting point for startups and investors in the Alps-Adriatic and West Balkans regions. Hi, Urban. Thanks for doing this. How are you doing?
Good. Thank you for having me. And I'm doing great, especially, it's been a busy week, been a busy session since we are like 1 month before the event. And but super excited on what everything will happen from 11 to 13 in Maribor.
Yeah, sounds good. So what's the story of PODIM? How did it get started?
Yeah, so the original PODIM as a brand name, as an event, started in 1918. So the little secret to your audience, that was the year I was born. So I was not there from the beginning. But yeah, it started like more like a academic-oriented discussion on the Faculty of Business and Economics around entrepreneurship, management, innovations. And then this slowly evolved, and kind of the second generation of the PODIM took place or evolved in a little bit after 2000, when a young team took it over and kind of pivoted or transformed it into a more tech event that is really kind of as we know it also today. So I'm there from 2003. So this is 23rd, I think, PODIM edition this year for me. And the mission basically and the why we are doing this actually is the same from the beginning. And this is, we are organizing it with the mission of empowering the regional builders, the regional ecosystem. So we have we are a huge believer in the region, its potential, business and technical abilities, and every ecosystem needs a focal point or a meeting point where kind of you gather all the ecosystem stakeholders and connect them. And we believe that, and we work toward the goal that the event for that region is PODIM. So we actually kind of also, as now putting on my other hat as a university business incubator consultant and employee. We have actually like two options if you want to connect someone with an investor or outside, really outside world, outside meaning out of the country. Either you kind of you send them out, you send them to multiple events around Europe or around the world, or you bring the Europe or the world in our backyard. So we decided back then that we need a strong event here. It's a huge potential. The region is continuously evolving, producing amazing companies. We strongly believe that an event like this adds a lot of value as a catalyst, as a as an aggregator, as already said, as a meeting point. And that's why we are so happy that the event is evolving together with the region, and that has such a great traction as it has today.
Yeah, it's great. Undoubtedly, this event puts the spotlight on Slovenia, on Maribor. So for those who are less familiar, what makes Slovenia and Maribor special? For me, what fascinates me about the geography is that Slovenia is in the crossroads of three linguistic branches in Europe. But can you tell us more about your home country, hometown?
Yes. So it's based in Maribor, which is second largest city in Slovenia. It's a university city with great university. Basically, the city as such is, amazing place to live. It's kind of positioned alongside riverside Drava, and kind of positioned between two hills, which are great on one hand for enjoying different outdoor sports, and on the other hand, vineyards are taking care for the more gastronomical side of our personalities. So a lot of good food, a lot of good wine, and yeah, it's logistically is really well positioned. So we have basically three international airports in kind of 1.5 hour drive. So Slovenian one, Ljubljana, and then we have Graz, Austria, we have Zagreb, Croatia, right? So it's really in a way close to all the international airports. But on the other hand, it's big enough, so it's have quite a lot of opportunities, but small enough in order not to be too chaotic, busy, and overwhelmed with all the traffic and jams and everything. So it's a super nice place to live, and also economically is evolving. So Maribor as such is a great, has a huge potential, and also great to set up a business because you are basically close to everything, but also you have some room and peace to work and to be productive. And Slovenia as such, it's a tiny country if you compare it to some more bigger neighbors, but with again around 2 million population, from coastline to Triglav mountain, we have everything, right? So from flatlands, high mountains, and the seaside. So it's really nice, amazing country. And also, the mentality is in a way a good mixture of Balkan mentality and maybe more northern, more strict and more goal-oriented mentality.
Yeah, sounds like the perfect balance, and yeah, I'm looking forward. Regarding PODIM, what's different this year? What's new at the conference?
So every year our strategy is for years that we are making small steps, because we believe in a continuous development, not like radical and disruptive changes, which can be also that doubtfuls, right, and danger in terms of because we believe that consistency is super important for every ecosystem program and event like ours. And it's more important that you are consistently present for 20, 25, and other years, X years, than to make like, huge overnight, steps that can actually endanger, the whole event and existence as such, which, by the way, happened to quite a lot of, events, because, it was, they were maybe too ambitious, putting on, 2 or 3 size too bigger shoes, and then it just, they collapsed, which is, not good for the ecosystem. And the ecosystem and the value for ecosystem is something that we care the most. And now back to your question. So with this evolving mindset, we are kind of continuously developing each of the basic elements of the conference. So the main thing are that the quality of the participants actually is increasing. So mature startups, founders, more great companies, more and more active investors, right? So we want to kind of remain kind of this, or keep the size of the event at around 1,100 participants, since we believe that this is kind of the right size of being big enough to have enough of opportunities, but on the other hand, small and intimate enough so you can bump to each other on several occasions. We are not like it's manageable. You can meet someone for 2 or 3 times in a row in those 2 days. So it's not like a huge zoo with 10, 20, 30K of people, which is totally overwhelming. And this kind of size gives the event like a special flavor, which is hopefully you'll feel it once you will be here, that it's really like a special. And so we are evolving in terms of the quality of each participant category. We are evolving in terms of doing like small tweaks in the program. So trying to have as meaningful and cool program on stage. But stage is just one half of the value that we provide. The other half is the PODIM deal room or matchmaking platform, which is in a way equally important. We organized, let's say, 1,350 meetings last year in 2 days. So this was like in-person organized. So it's like a networking machine. And we kind of want to, lift both sides of the value in a way simultaneously. So the participants really get, a lot of networking, which is value number one, in terms of formal and informal, right, meetings and all the other networking opportunities. And the value number two is to get, new knowledge, inspiration, new ideas, new know-how, with which they can build like next generation of super companies from the region.
Got it. So it's keeping the same winning format and making small tweaks, continuous improvement, improving the quality, but keeping it the right size, like what you said about the city, about Maribor. Is there anything that excites you most about the conference, or specific speakers, topics, or workshops you would like to highlight?
I mean, I, as a program director, I'm really excited about every piece of content that we will have on stage. But especially there's kind of there are like 3 main, let's say, flows or kind of colors that are influencing the overall agenda and the overall event. First one is, of course, the AI, that it's integrated basically in every element, every speaking slot, every content piece that we have. Previously, like 5 years ago, we have a special program block, AI, right? We don't need that anymore because, AI is everywhere.
Yeah.
So this is kind of really exciting to see. And we prepared some special content around opportunities, with a more focused for investors. This will be in this Investors Academy on pre-conference day on Monday. And then we have, of course, a lot of examples how the AI is kind of really being used in kind of development for the product and company. On the builder stage, there are, great, amazing experts there. So this AI is overall like really, it amazes me how much is actually, changing and progressing.
Yeah,
The
much more
second,
is possible.
and exactly. And then the second one would be like a really, deep tech technologies that are um, contributing to the, to the world, to the economy, to the ecosystem. So we will live in the same planet, hopefully, in 50 or 100 years from now. So it's not only about, the number of users, but also kind of preserving the planet, and keeping the ecosystem in balance. So, and deep tech technologies are something that are contributing to that goal, really, really well. And we have some amazing cases from that sphere, that kind of showcasing how a technology can really impact our lives, right? Like really, directly. And especially those stories are fascinating and inspiring from many perspectives. One is like, okay, we have done, some really great product or process that kind of converts, I don't know, rare elements from magnets, right? So
Oh,
it's
wow.
like crazy, crazy shit.
Yeah,
But on the
yeah.
other hand, you have like inspiring, personal stories, how the founder build something from scratch and bring that from the from the lab to the market, and in 2 years, right, from like a small Mediterranean country to a contract with Stellantis, let's say. So these are like amazing
Oh,
stories and inspirational that can be done. So this is the deep tech are the second, let's say, topic or color that is really fascinating me. And the third one would be, of course, we are in Europe. We are an European event, um, and how to actually catch up with our competitors. On one side, US. How we as a Europe can be more competitive or catch up. On the other hand, China, right? So this is the third topic that would be kind of on the table with different stakeholders on a European level, because this is kind of really a huge concern
it is.
for
It's
Europe
very
to
timely.
stay. Exactly.
Got it. So yeah, I understand AI will be quite dominant. I mean, it'll be everywhere. And yeah, with AI agents maturing, especially in recent months, we seem to need fewer people to get things done. Lots of solopreneurs, but people are still coming in droves, and there's lots of demand for a conference like Podim. I feel we need this human connection, this meeting point, as you said. How do you see it?
Yeah, I mean, we see it as we also survived those two kind of COVID years. We had two totally online events, two podiums, but this was. I mean, there were great events, but this is event without a human interaction is hardly categorized as event. It's a kind of more like a service for providing some sort of value. And we strongly believe that that we are humans and we need interaction, and we also event kind of in, encourage or inspire some sort of serendipity also. That is, at the end of the day, a lot of times in charge for some great outcomes and outputs. And we have several stories from podiums that somebody late night bumped into an investor, and asked, and then from that random meeting or small talk, the investment happened in several months later, right? So, and this couldn't happen, on Zoom or like structured some sort of
Yeah.
networking online meetings. Not a chance, right? So there is some, this human interaction, this human element, this special chemistry that is in us as human beings, comes into place into life on a live event as ours. And we are like a huge believer of in-person events. That's why we don't have any like online element, no hybrid. So from 11 to 13, everybody's there, and this has produced amazing results in the past, and we believe also in the future. No matter the capabilities of agents and other technologies that are evolving.
Yeah. Yeah. This serendipity is something amazing. Happens spontaneously. And what do you want people to walk away with from Podium after the event?
Yeah. So as I explained before, like that we kind of provide two buckets of value. So the learning and inspiration on one hand, and this networking, on the other hand. These are the basically the wishes that people walk away from Podium out of Maribor, right? So that their rollout deck has more business cards, more contacts, valuable contacts, and this is why we are super careful that basically every participant on Podium is there with a reason, is there with a business reason. So on anyone you bump, there will be some sort of meaningful conversation, or that somebody that knows somebody and is willing to help. So this enrichment of context of the relevant context, or the relevant personal network. This is something that is our goal number one, and goal number two is new learning, new inspiration, new partnerships being built for new products, services, companies, whatever, that has a greater outcome on the region and also global economy, right? So, and all the elements of the event are curated in a way that those two values happen, hopefully, and that people are really satisfied when they leave.
Yeah, we hope to see lots of products with the seal born in Podium. Okay, this has been great. Urban, do you have anything else to add?
Oh, I mean, not especially. I'm looking forward. I'm also super happy about our partnerships. Our
Thank you.
partnership. I believe that bringing more of those story that we were talking in this nice conversation, in a structured way as a podcast, into the world is super important. That is kind of really part of our mission. Is also not just empowering founders, but part of this empowering is also putting them on the pedestal and kind of promoting their stories and their wins. So this is really important, and thank you for that. On the other hand, I just hope we see each other in Maribor, and for all of you, all of your listeners that have kind of are there building something, and you either want to kind of get new insights, first-hand experience from experienced builders and operators, come to Maribor, or if you need to strengthen and improve your network, meet an investor, get a feedback, then this is the place to be.
Definitely. Okay, thank you very much, Urban. It has been a pleasure. I'm also looking forward to seeing you in 3 dimensions. the face-to-face in Maribor, and you got me excited about the city and the country as well. So that's it. Thank you very much. And that's the end of our episode. See you soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much. See you in Maribor.
Thank you.